Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the This Week at Phillies Baseball. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you. And joining me today and with me, as always, is my group of companions on a very busy Monday afternoon. Joey Marks from the Pass and Half Sports Show and Austin Hammel on Play and Rewind of Hardcore Sports Network. Gentlemen, how are we doing today? Happy good Monday to you guys.
Yeah, happy Monday, man. Feeling good.
Yeah, Joey, how
That
you been, buddy?
good man. That weekend series definitely has reignited some optimism for this Phillies organization.
Yep. And it's going to be hopefully a good week for the Phillies too. After a very good weekend series with Detroit taking 2 out of 3, the White Sox series I maybe won't talk about that because it was a little bit of shaky. But speaking of a positive weekend, before we go into our Shapiro of the day, we want to say if you are a new member or actually a part member of Hardcore Sports Network, like we always say, hit that like and subscribe button on the bottom on the bottom of your screen, and also follow us on Facebook, social medias, Twitter, Twitch, and all stuff included on Hardcore Sports Network too. All right, let's get into our weekly recap for the Fightin Phils this week because the Phillies, like I said, began the week in Chicago against the White Sox, but unfortunately wasn't a really good series for them. But the positive was after the trade deadline happened on Thursday afternoon, it was Wall of Fame weekend, so we saw two Philly great legends going into the Phillies Wall of Fame, and Jimmy Rollins and Ed Wade on Friday night. So my first question to you guys was, how awesome was it to see Jimmy Rollins to be a part? I mean, what was your immediate thoughts when you see Jimmy Rollins and Ed Wade being reunited for Wall of Fame weekend in 2025? Joey, I'll start with you first.
Makes me feel old. I because I'm like, wait, these guys are going into the Wall of Fame. It's like, okay, I feel like it wasn't that long ago that I watched J. Roll do all the magic that he would do on the field. And, Ed Wade, we talk about general managers in this city as though they are like a key figure of the team, which they are, but ordinarily I wouldn't think that a lot get talked about. Um, Ed Wade was definitely one that got talked about after his departure from Philadelphia,
Right.
mainly because of what he set in motion. He kind of started the wheels in motion by drafting and bringing in the talent that he had brought in with J. Roll and Hammels and Utley and Howard. I mean, there hasn't been homegrown talent in one kind of class like that. I don't think ever. And so Ed Wade was extraordinary, and it was said maybe more than once during this weekend. When you have Pat Gillick who wins a World Series trophy while holding that trophy, humbles himself to say thank you to Ed Wade for giving us the tools. Like that is saying a lot, but Jimmy Rollins has to possibly go down as one of the top 5 shortstops in Philadelphia Phillies history, and I'd almost argue top 3. And like that is it's amazing to have watched his career, more to the point to see him going into the Wall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin, what was your immediate breakdown of Wall of Fame weekend on Friday through Saturday against Detroit this weekend?
Yeah, honestly, to be 100% honest with you, echoing the same things that Joe said. Like I still remember, going to the ballpark with my dad, going to Veterans Stadium and seeing Jimmy Rollins play. Like
Right.
it's just insane how quickly time can fly when you really think about it. Like essentially in a vacuum, with how quickly Rollins last played for Philadelphia. What was it? 2011, 2012, something like that.
Something like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah. So 13 years later to see him set foot on the field at Citizens Bank Park again, it really put into perspective, like, man, time has really flown. But like, aside from that, like, just like Joe said, the Ed Wade being so instrumental in getting, the core that Philadelphia needed to win that World Series in 2008, especially most specifically Jimmy Rollins, like the leadership that he had, the sheer on-field talent that he had defensively, offensively, the capabilities that he had to be able to be one of the marquee players for this team. So, he even said it himself. Your name may be on the back, but you play for the team logo on the front, and that's the main thing. And I can definitely agree with what Jimmy said. They got tired of hearing about the 1980 World Series team. They went and got their ring, and now this team now is still hearing about the 08 team, and they're probably getting tired of it, and they want to get their own ring. And they definitely have the capability now. We're gonna be talking about the trade deadline in a bit, but the additions that Philadelphia made definitely has helped sort of bolster them into a bit more of a playoff contender for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, Wall of Fame weekend is one of my favorite time of the year for the Phillies because that's around the time the Eagles are starting, and it's right around mid-August or so. This year, I don't know why. I mean, this was probably a real perfect story for Jimmy Rollins because you think about the times when Jimmy Rollins, when we were kids, and we were like seeing him run. I can go back to 2007 when he had 20, 20, and 20 in that last game of the season and finally capturing that glory before capturing that NL East crown. 2009, right after the World Series win, and seeing him school Jonathan Broxton and that NLCS and one win away from that National League title and that National League pennant. It was just amazing to see because it was a chilling feeling. It was a real moving really moving speech by him, and seeing that crowd just really being jammed. I mean, just really just turning it into a frenzy was pretty remarkable. Like I said, it was really moving by the Phillies to put him in the Wall of Fame. Even Ryan Howard talking about J-Wall for a little bit. And he was like my little brother and all that and the whole 9 yards. And even Chase Utley, who was actually in the concourse where the Wall of Fame was, and announcing the plaques of both Ed Wade and seeing just that 2008 Phillies team was really cool to see. I mean, it was, like I said, it was really moving, and I thought it was probably one of the highlights of Wall of Fame weekend, and especially this weekend too with Detroit coming into town, and it definitely paid dividend for sure, guys.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Jimmy will also be known for is the charisma that he showed,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of rubbed off on everybody around them, teammates, all over, and there's a select class of athletes in this town that are just Philadelphia sports royalty. They could go into any establishment and wouldn't have to drop a dime on the counter because of that, who they are and what they've done for this city. Jimmy Rollins is one of those people, and that is that '08 team, I think, is as meaningful of a team as the '93 team was because they kind of had this built relationship with the city. And it was very much because of Jimmy Rollins, because Jimmy kind of made it no, we're gonna have some swagger. We gotta get ourselves back right because we're the Phillies, and that should mean something. And from saying we are the team to beat to saying that no one's gonna stop us, that is a part of sports that I think in some way is missing. And much like Austin said, we're going to talk about the trade deadline, and we'll talk more about it then. But there are some things that the Phillies did this trade deadline that feels like it's bringing some pieces to the Phillies that's been missing since the '08 team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the best thing about it too with this Phillies team, I mean, it's kind of it feels like now. I mean, we've had to go through that hurdle of the time when the Phillies were not relevant, like the Scott Rowland and Mike Lieberthal era, and then we had to transfer now that into that 2007 to 2011 teams that got to the postseason, even won a World Series in 2008. And I mean that's the thing, Joe. I mean, you think about this Phillies team. I mean, they could have the presence of having that same kind of level of tenacity of those 2007 to 2011 teams. That Red October comes around, you come to Citizens Bank Park, and you're not going to be carrying the lot. You're not going to come out of the Citizens Bank Park with only just kind of what Spencer Strider was going through in that first game of Red October and that NLDS in 2022. So once that's effective, man, it's one of those things that I look forward to every single year, especially when I was missing during those times when the Phillies were not playing at their best. I said, man, if we can go back to Red October again, that would be something to keep a close eye on, especially in those later months or two. So, my second question for this weekly recap. So the Phillies took on Detroit this weekend and three games this week. From Friday to Saturday. Friday it was a shaky game. It looked like it was Ranger Suarez looked like he had himself a good game, but the hitting wasn't there until later in the later parts of the game. So if you may, who would Austin, I'll ask you this question first here. Who was your standout performance on this game this weekend for this Detroit Tigers series? Who would your standout performance be this weekend from this series against Detroit?
Honestly, if I'm looking at the numbers here, personally, I would probably say, even though he didn't really contribute much at the actual plate, but his base running was pretty key. Harrison Bader, new addition to the Phillies. We got him on Thursday at the trade deadline. His base running was really heads up in the later innings of some of those games against Detroit to help us get keep the games close or even help take a lead. That's the kind of stuff that you really need. You need guys that are really, really smart on the base paths, especially getting into this tail end of the season now. We're, first week of August, where we don't really have a lot of baseball left, and those kinds of mistakes can end up burying you. And Bader definitely came through for this team.
Yeah, he did. Joey, same question to you. Who was your standout performance this weekend against Detroit?
Well, this is going to come as no shock, where Austin has taken one piece, I'll take another. Johan Duran. This is a guy that has basically set Philadelphia on fire, and I'm meaning that literally. And so this is a guy that, let me just plug the numbers. Austin brought up about the numbers.
Yeah.
2 innings of work, 2 saves, less than 20 pitches for combined.
Amazing.
Like, the guy doesn't get paid by the hour. He doesn't get paid by the pitch. This is a guy that just comes in and mentally just shakes you. Like, I honestly think both Friday and Sunday night, the Tigers was shook. Like, they saw that entrance and
all shook up, like Elvis Presley would say.
What they saw that entrance and was like, well, hold on, who the hell is this cat? Like, okay, the presence, the entrance, and the stuff, James. This guy topped out at 103 miles an hour.
Yep.
Let that sink in. 103.
Incredible.
This is Aroldis Chapman at his prime. Like, this is that kind of, velocity. And he's got wicked control. Oh, and by the way, he's got a splitter that he can throw at 98 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what? That's not even fair.
Yeah.
Like, you go from someone like Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez that don't beat you with the fastball. They beat you with the changeup. They throw you junk and you miss. And Johan Duran just comes in and he throws gas and you can't catch up. So, like, my feeling is that Johan Duran in short order won, especially last night's game. But I would say both comfortably, but especially last night's game. He won this series for the Phillies. Because if that was Jordan Romano trying to attempt to close the game, I think I'd need antacid just to get through the game.
I may need to be put in a padded room if Romano came in trying to save those games.
Yeah, right. yeah, right. Oh my God.
But Duran, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, he set a Citizens Bank Park record for fastest pitch thrown at 103.4 or something like that.
Oh hell yeah,
103.4
heat. Like,
when the announcer said it, I was like, I'm sorry, did you just say 103? I'm like, that doesn't happen here.
Yeah, and like you said, like guys like even Zach Wheeler, like Wheeler, Sanchez, and Suarez all try and beat you with off-speed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Their changeups, their sliders, their curveballs. And then you have a guy like Duran come in, throw 103, and then follow that up with a splitter that falls off the table out of the same tunnel. Like you can't track this guy.
No, you can't.
He's got everything that you want out of a closing pitcher. He can either blow the doors off you or make you look like an absolute fool expecting to have the doors blown off of you.
Yeah, right.
And I kind of go back to, and I brought this up with James on Saturday, is that he kind of gives this, there is a mystique and mental advantage, I think, for having that entrance. I know it's the glitz, the glamour, it's the show, it's the pageantry. I get all that. But if you're the opposing team and you hear that bell toll and then see all the pyro and all that, you're like, what in the hell? And then you add that to this city and what that ballpark already gets like we don't need pyro in this city, but you're going to add that level and you're going to put it in Citizens Bank Ballpark. I said this on Saturday, James. I'm like, I feel bad for the team that we play in the playoffs at CBP that is going to come in the playoffs and hear that bell toll and the eruption. Like, I might think there might be an explosion down near my house because I live blocks away from the stadium.
That's the why, my friend.
I'm going to be like, well, I guess he's coming in because I just hear the crowd through my door. Like,
yeah. Oh, dude. You know, I know for sure it's gonna be something. To quote Taz from SmackDown back in the day, we're calling "Here Comes the Pain."
Oh,
like it will be something like that. I'll be like. Because like now Brock Lesnar coming back last night at SummerSlam, I said, it's a perfect opportunity to say, well, here comes the pain again, and then the bell tolls and all that. Well, I know it was the Undertaker, but still, I mean that's kind of like in my head. It's like, well, you don't know what's gonna happen next, batter. So here comes the pain, boys.
And look, this is a guy who's 6'5". He's built like a wrestler.
Oh yeah,
he comes in with this whole mystique. I mean, I honestly. I said, James, I don't know the last closer that the Phillies had since Lidge that came out to a song that you knew that it was game over.
Yeah.
Like, you get to Lidge, it's lights out.
Lights out. Well, now I think it will be what would be, I mean, now we have lights. I mean, that would be a good question to ask you now. Since we had lights out Lidge, what would be a good catchphrase for him, especially for? I mean, I know his nickname is the Durantula. Yep. That's what it was. So I guess so it'd be Do or Die Duran or something. I mean,
I would just call him Doors Duran. He's gonna blow the doors off you with that 103 mile an hour.
Yeah, right. For sure. So for me, I mean, the thing that I was really impressed this weekend, because I was curious to know if the Phillies had the lead on that Friday. So they took the lead. They had a 4-3 lead. And I said to myself, okay, do they put Duran in to put in the game as the closer for the first time? I'm thinking, and then I hear those bell tolls, and I was like, oh, shit. Shit's gonna get real.
Well, I didn't even know what his entrance was.
No, this is the first time I heard it too, man.
Right. So I'm hearing the bell, and I'm like, wait, he's coming out to the Undertaker? Like, I was like, I was like, wait, are we pulling the Undertaker? Is he coming out like in a dark robe? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting for like Paul Bearer to come walking out in front of him. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And so. And then I hear the music. I'm like, oh, this is different.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
Yeah.
I could dig it. And so, like, even Tom McCarthy said, this has not happened in Philadelphia in quite some time. And look, I go back to another great, Mariano Rivera.
Yep.
You brought it up on Saturday, James. When you heard that music hit, you knew. And look, it's not all about, okay, the pitcher's great. Like, the pitcher's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a mental edge that if you can live rent free for 3 outs against the opposing team, that is an advantage.
Yeah.
And then you give this kid's God-given talent to hit the velocity like he's able to. It's like, wait, there's more? I'm like, okay. I'm like, he could have that entrance and pitch like Jordan Romano and none of us would care. But that guy came in and had the bravado. He has the confidence and he has the stuff.
Well, Michkowski nailed it on the head too. He said Duran is the Philadelphia Wild thing. If nobody saw the Major League, so I would say that's a good comparison. I like that.
Yeah,
that's a very good comparison.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the main thing though. Is with pitching, it's such a mental game that he comes in. That whole entrance. Not only does it strike fear into the opposing team when they have to come up and face this guy, but him having it helps to establish the confidence and get you in that right mindset. That whole walk out from center field, you can see he is locked in as he's coming up to the mound. This man is just like Joe said, he's not getting paid by the hour. He's coming out here to do a job and do it as efficiently as possible. What did you say, Joe? 2 innings of work, 2 saves, under 20 pitches?
Under 20. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Insanity. Insane.
Yeah, it's insane. Exactly right.
I mean, this guy had 16 saves coming in. He has 2 in a weekend. And he's like, wait a minute, this is kind of easy. Like, you come from Minnesota where they don't always get you the lead. Sometimes you're coming in just to sustain a tie or whatnot. So you're not getting a save. He's coming in and he's like, wait a minute, I get a save opportunity. He's like, okay.
Count me in. Yeah, count me in. I'm down. Yeah. The last thing I'll say about this too with Duran, it's just that I look forward to watching every game now. I mean, at first I was kind of. I'll tell you a long story short. Over the week of the trade deadline, I said to myself, I don't know if this is going to take you to where you need to go as a World Series contender. But I only took me that 9th inning to say, this Duran guy might be special. I was never crazy about the whole. The Edwin Diaz, the blowing of the trumpet, and that whole 9 yards. And I said to myself, okay, just whatever you do, don't try to be cute with it. And then I hear the bell tolls and I hear the lights go out. I'm thinking like, oh, this is lit. This is fascinating. This is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But again, it kind of goes back to what I said. Like, he could have had all that and come out and thrown, walked 3 guys. He could have gone the other way. And the fact that this guy was just like, no, I got your number. And we talked about Jamie Rollins earlier. That bravado, that confidence, that swagger that Jimmy brought to the locker room was infectious to the rest of his teammates in that clubhouse. I think Duran, even though he's a
helps
reliever,
the bullpen. Yeah, that helps the bullpen immensely.
It helps the bullpen immensely, but I think that confidence. I think the lineup's like, no. We have to get to him. We have to get to Duran. We have to give him an opportunity because, they're all thinking that if we get to him, it's done. We're done. We did our job. We're going to just it's done deal, and that's going to matter when it comes down to close games. We all complained prior to the trade deadline. All right, are the Phillies going to have enough offense? Are they going to win playoff games 2-1? Well, with Duran, does that matter?
No, I don't think it matters.
Definitely tips the scale in our favor a good deal more for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially considering a lot of the rumors about a month ago coming into the deadline was that we were going to be big in a potential deal for Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians, but now he's on administrative leave, possibly facing a very, very harsh penalty.
Yeah.
So the second that hit, I was talking to a friend when the news broke. I was like, uh-oh, there goes the guy that I wanted us to get. And then immediately, Phillies are interested in Johan Duran. I went, oh, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sold on him. Of course, my ass got heated because all the stuff said, well, Duran knows what he's doing. I was like, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I don't want like I don't want them to come in a game that it's like 12-4, or if it's like
Right.
or if it's a game that's like I mean, I want to see them like come in a game that what it matters the most in a safe situation. And
Well,
the last two games
let,
they proved me wrong a little bit. Go ahead,
let me
Joe.
let me put it this way, James.
Mm-hmm.
There's a uh, penance that Alvarado is going to pay.
Shit.
So
Yeah.
on those games where it's 12-4,
Mm-hmm.
Duran's not going to get called.
No.
Alvarado will. But
Yeah.
the other token that I will give you is when we need those wins later on in the season to kind of vie for position in the playoff hunt.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about Kerkering, Alvarado, and Duran as your back end of your bullpen? That looks a lot more promising than it did 2 weeks ago. And like
Absolutely.
that is the difference. Now I
It's
get
true.
it. Alvarado is not going to make the playoffs, but we need to get a strong footing to when we get into the playoffs. So we have to build to that. There's still almost 2 months left in the season. So there's still a lot of games to play, and Alvarado is coming off a suspension in about 2 or 3 weeks. So, you got this dynamic now with Duran,
Mm-hmm.
and you add someone like Alvarado that if he still has his stuff, and you add Kerkering and Strom and people like that, like there is this dynamic that the bullpen has definitely taken an uptick.
Yep.
And that with these starters, the way that they have been pitching, it is a scary proposition. And all we have to do is the pitching helps us to wait around for the offense.
Mm-hmm.
This lineup still has heavy hitters.
Right.
Last night I was like sitting on my couch and I'm like, "Hey Kyle, can you please give me a bomb just for, a little?" And sure enough, he hit a home run. I'm like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you."
Yeah. Mitch Kovsky joins us again. He says he don't trust Rob Thompson. So, in case you haven't known, Austin, I think there's a debate between Mitch Kovsky and Joey Marks. I think Joey's saying that the Phillies are going to win the World Series. I'll let you take it from here, Joe.
I didn't say they were going to win the World Series. I did say
Yeah,
they
I
were
don't know what the
playoff
whole
team.
bet is, but the only
No,
difference is I'm just enjoying the ride.
right. No, here's my thing. Both Mitch Kovsky and our good buddy Frank Finnegan have gone on record as to say, to be fair, Frank has. We haven't talked to him since the trade deadline, so Frank does have a right to repeal his opinion. But both Mitch Kovsky and Frank Finnegan have gone on record and said that this team's not making the playoffs, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that is the most absurd statement. And the fact that Mitch blames Rob Thompson is also a very absurd statement because think about it this way. When Rob now has this bona fide closer,
Mm-hmm.
look what he's done in at least the 2 games they had the lead. He was able to put the bullpen in the right position to get to Duran to get the door closed in a close game against and Detroit's not a bad team. They are one of the top teams in the majors. So I don't want to hear like they, well, look who they were playing. No, yes, look who they were playing. The Detroit Tigers. Like my feeling is that Rob Thompson gets ridiculed because he's the chef and in a kitchen and he tries to make these gourmet meals, but sometimes he doesn't have the right ingredients to make the gourmet meal. And
Right.
yet he gets blamed for that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can only work with what you have. Look, we're going to talk a little bit about minor league at some point, and the one minor league name that keeps getting thrown around down there is obviously Andrew Painter, but JT Crawford. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to ask yourself, okay, if JT Crawford was up here versus Weston Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not Rob's decision, that's Dave Dombrowski and Preston Mattingly's decision.
Sure.
If JT Crawford was up here versus Weston Wilson, would this lineup be better? Yes, because Rob Thompson would have a better ingredient to put into the lineup. This isn't about how Rob can, he doesn't have the decision making to say, I want this guy up here. That's not his decision. That's not his job. He's given ingredients and gone and told to go out and win. And last time I checked, they are winning at a high clip.
Yeah. So for me, you know what? I can bring up the minor league report right now since it's kind of new news here. So I guess we can like wheel around here. So apparently something. I think it was Dave Dabrowski talked about it either today. I heard about it just a couple minutes ago on Unfiltered with Bill Colarulo and Ricky Batalco. So it seems like they're trying to move Justin Crawford to left field. I don't know what the whole circumstances is. Joe Austin. I mean, yeah. I mean, do you? I mean, like, what's your immediate reaction when you hear this about that kind of stuff? I mean, I would just keep him at center field. It would be the right position. I mean, am I right?
Well, look, is it?
It's kind of confusing.
Yes and no. Here's the thing.
They're going to try to platoon. I mean, they're trying to probably platoon him like they're doing Harrison Bader. But go ahead, Joe.
Well. Here's the thing. Do you trust Max Kepler? Do either of you trust Max Kepler? Okay.
No.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they want to platoon. I think they want Bader in center, and they want JT over in the other field position where Kepler usually is, and they want to DFA Kepler. But they have to find a way to do that in the next couple days. In my opinion, because I think Justin Crawford, he deserves to be up here sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because I mean, you think about it. I mean, when I heard the news, I said to myself, "Why are you trying to platoon Crawford like you're trying to do with like?" I mean, it just kind of confused me a little bit. What they're trying to. I mean, go on, Austin. I mean, what's your reaction when you hear this news about what they're trying to do with Crawford down in Lehigh?
Yeah, like I 100% understand, shifting him over to left field because of the fact that in center field you have Bader, Marsh, and Rojas. You have all three of those guys already capable of playing that position. Kepler's really your only option in left field aside from shifting a Marsh or a Rojas over there while Bader runs center, or even Otto Kemp. He's played a few games out there in left field. So, I mean, I feel like it's more of a flexibility thing. If you can get him to get comfortable playing left field now, you have that option to bring him up and have him play there should you decide to move on from Max Kepler. Even if you decide to keep him as a left-handed bat off the bench,
right?
Just run Crawford out there in left field so that way you have great defensive capability out there. Like Marsh had an incredible weekend.
Oh yeah,
in terms of not only at the plate but defensively, he actually had a really good week overall. So
right,
it's that thing of like you were saying earlier, Joe. Like there's a lot of ingredients here for this dish that Thompson's trying to cook up, but the pantry is being controlled by Dombrowski and company. So they're the ones pulling the ingredients. They're like, here, use this, use this, use this, and he's like, I mean, sure, like I could figure something out. And then everyone's like, oh, well, this doesn't look great. A lot of this stuff, especially now that we're post-trade deadline, just give it another week or two. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's still time for some of these guys to adjust. Harrison Bader, like I said, is a very, very high baseball IQ guy. He spent a lot of time with some really solid teams. He spent time in St. Louis. He spent time with the Yankees. Like he has a lot of good baseball IQ in him, even though, he's getting towards the tail end of his career now. He's been around for a while, but he still has the ability to be an everyday center fielder. So even if you don't make the call up for Crawford this year and you decide to hold off until next year, you have good outfielder options. So from here on out, it's literally just do you decide to keep running Kepler as one of your consistent left field options, or do you just decide, we're going to run Bader and Rojas out in center field, and then we'll just play Marsh in left. Like I'd be totally fine with that because it still gives you a solid left-hand bat in the lower half of that lineup. And if you want to shift him up because he's doing better, he's got good speed on the base paths too. So you have a lot more options now. If you decide, like I said, if you decide to keep Crawford down, having Bader here gives you a lot more options to sort of flex out that outfield a good bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, if it works, I mean that's the thing. I mean, if it, I mean, the thing that I mean, I'm not saying I'm for the idea or against the idea. I was just it just caught me off guard because it said to myself like, so you're trying to platoon Crawford, you're trying to platoon Rojas, or like you said with Brandon Marsh, and the list goes on and on about that too. But yeah, I mean, like it's up to what Preston Mattingly does, and it's also what Dave Dabrowski does too, and it's for the time being. So yeah, I mean, I'll be for certain of that for sure. But overall, I mean, the thing about it too is just like yeah, I mean, I don't want to try to sound like it sounds weirder, but I don't want to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the thing. I mean, if Crawford is like your center fielder, you don't want to critique. You don't want to like try to twist the logic into a pretzel. That's kind of what
Well,
I'm going at too. Go
I
ahead,
mean,
Joe.
here's my thing. I agree, but when Alec Baum comes off of the IL,
Mm-hmm.
my feeling is that the Phillies have a choice. They're either going to option Weston Wilson back to AAA and the Iron Pig, Lehigh Valley, or they are going to DFA Max Kepler.
Mm-hmm.
My feeling is this, and it's real simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a kid like Justin Crawford up there. Bring him up and give him 50 at bats. If that kid can hit 12 hits or 15 hits out of 50 at bats, that tells you all you need to know, and does well in the field.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you all you need to know about what this kid could possibly be for next season. Even if you option him back for the playoffs and you bring someone like like a Weston Wilson back up, my feeling is that Kapler is not the answer anymore. Like, I've said this
No,
before about Weston Wilson. I've seen enough out of him. I've seen enough out of Kapler. I've seen all I'm going to see. If 100 at bats or 100 plus at bats hasn't proven to you what he is, then I don't know what will.
I don't get the whole hoopla of just the whole circumstance of Weston Wilson. I guess like I mean it's just that after a while, I mean with Rojas, I even brought it up before our show started. I said, if you if you kept Rojas up here, the one thing you could have done was like put him as a pinch hitter or pinch runner.
Yeah.
I mean you do have like pieces around that could like bring him in. Like Otto Kemp is a good example. I mean with Weston Wilson, I mean what's he done in the last handful? I mean he has like I think he has like a velocity of like on 0.0160. I mean I forget how outrageous.
Darn.
It's like not even in the 200 range or not even in
Yeah.
the, I mean, but it's just that I mean, after a while, it's like, what are we doing here? But at the same time, too, I mean, it's what it is. So it is what it is. But speaking of something that has to be addressed here. So as you may know, this weekend it was a pitcher's duel between Zach Wheeler, well, supposedly, excuse me, Tarek Skubal versus Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler looks like he's kind of having himself a real ever since that complete game before the All-Star break, kind of seems like he's lost his control with his fastball a little bit or his a couple of his pitches here and there too. So, Joey, I'll ask you this question. Are we concerned? Are you guys? I mean, this is your same question to you, Austin, too. I mean, are you guys concerned about Zach Wheeler's pit the last couple games? Are you at a level concern of what Zach Wheeler has pitched like the last handful of months, not handful of weeks, going back to that complete game before the All-Star break?
I'll let you go first, Austin.
Honestly, I feel like the start that we saw from Zach Wheeler, albeit you love a 10 strikeout outing from Zach Wheeler. You love how dominant he was on the mound. He definitely did have some shaky spots in that start, but that was, I mean, aside from that, that's exactly what you wanted to see from a number one versus number one pitching matchup. You got 20 total strikeouts from these two guys, both of them dealing really well. Wheeler left a couple up that wound up getting popped a little bit, but aside from that, I mean, you had the shaky beginning of the game from Ranger Suarez. Like there's bound to be those minor hiccups. Like even Luzardo had been having some really rough starts and he sort of got out of a bit of trouble a good deal in the Chicago series. So, I mean, there's a lot of there's still a lot of time to be able to correct these mistakes as you get towards the end of the season and beginning of playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with, the mistakes happening every once and again. It's just baseball. It is what it is. And like I said earlier, talking, sort of glossing over what I had said about Duran, a lot of pitching is a mental game. If you're not right mentally, you're going to end up leaving a couple where, you wish you could have been able to take those pitches back and give a better effort. But overall, I mean, I feel like, the shaky opening to that start, Wheeler really did sort of recompose himself and find himself a good groove to get himself back into that start, strike out the 10. even Scooble, he may not have given up a ton, but those hits could have really tore him apart, especially after retiring 14 straight and then giving up that double. Like, that could have tore him apart. That could have broken him completely down, but one of the reasons why he's one of the best in baseball. He found his groove again and just got right back to being dominant. I mean, both of those guys have really good off-speed stuff, and they both really relied on that to get them through the tail end of those starts.
Yeah, definitely. Joey, what are you at all concerned about Zach Wheeler's latest performances in his last couple starts?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because I know for a fact that Zach Wheeler knows he hasn't pitched as well as he can. And this is what I also know, is that I think Zach's been putting a lot of pressure on himself because of the result of the last 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He wants that Cy Young so badly because he doesn't want it as like, oh, I want this more than the World Series trophy. He wants it to kind of prove to himself that he's that elite. Cy Young, being a Cy Young award winner means a lot to a pitcher on their resume.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Zach Wheeler, having kind of been the runner-up, being the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing, that does affect you. And Austin kind of hit the nail on the head. It's a mental game. And I think when we look back at this past weekend's situation with Saturday and him and Scooble, like, Rob Thompson went over to him and said, "Hey, you good? Like, are you done? Like, do you want me to put you back out there?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And he wasn't. He let up 2 more runs and whatnot. And you could tell that there was a little bit of fatigue. Now, here's the thing. Rob Thompson didn't do it, and that makes him a bad manager. He has to trust his players. But Zach also has to trust his body.
Mm-hmm.
He can't be doing, less is sometimes more. And you have to allow yourself the perspective that this is a long season.
Mm-hmm.
And we need the prime time Wheeler more in October than I do in August or end of July. Like, that is the big distinct difference. And so I'm not worried. He's got another 4 or 5 starts, maybe 6 starts to get himself back to where he needs to be before the playoffs start. And, that is because he's going to be an integral person in that situation as far as the playoffs, especially if we end up playing the wild card where it's a shortened series, because it'll be him, Sanchez, and possibly either Ranger or Luzardo.
Yeah, no question. I think the other thing too with Zach Wheeler, I mean, I'm not going to be concerned about him. Obviously, this is around the time. I mean, if it continues to be a concern into the later months of August and into September and then probably into the postseason, then I'll be concerned. But more than anything, I mean, it's 162 of them. Like, there's a lot of games to be left played. Yeah, sure, he had some slumps here and there. I mean, even though the way he pitched on Saturday, it wasn't a bad performance. I mean, him and Scrooble were like neck and neck of each other. They were just really playing. Like, they both pitched very, very well, but the difference was the Phillies weren't hitting and the Tigers weren't. So it was like kind of.
It's amazing that we say a pitcher had a horrible outing when he only gave up 3 runs.
Right.
Like, that's the amazing thing, is because Zach Wheeler has set the bar at such a high level for himself that it's easy to be like, oh, he gave up 3 runs. Is something wrong with Zach? Like, wait a minute. He gave up 3 runs. Can we relax? Calm down.
Yeah, it's not like he gave up 6 or 7, you know?
Right, like, we're not talking like he got blown up.
Yeah.
Like, that the question I have to pose to both you guys, while we're talking about starting pitchers, we're talking about Zach Wheeler and whether or not we have the confidence in him going forward. In about 2 or 3 weeks, Aaron Nola is going to be coming off IL. He's going to be pitching again. He'll be put back into this rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel as strongly as I did before because he hasn't pitched in such a long time and his velocity's been down. I feel like at least for the remainder of this season, he should go into the bullpen just to protect the arm, to maybe increase the velocity. And it also gives him an opportunity from one day to the next be able to work on. I get that pitchers are creatures of habit, but even if he's pitching twice a week out of the bullpen, I'll take it because I honestly don't want to put him in a position where, that's the guy I don't really trust at this point as far as starting pitching because he's been off the mound for so long. So I worry about that. That's why I don't feel if I'm comparing my level of concern with the pitching staff, Zach Wheeler's not at my highest level of concern.
Right.
Yeah, and I just want to sort of gloss over these numbers really quick because we're talking about a potential concern for Zach Wheeler. 9-5 on the year, 2.64 ERA, 139 and 2/3 innings, 182 strikeouts, and a sub-1 WHIP.
Yeah,
and we're talking about potential concerns for this guy. Like it's insane. I mean, he's on pace for another 200 strikeout season.
Right.
On pace to potentially throw about 190 if he goes the distance in a couple of these starts, maybe even 200 innings.
Sure.
Like the only pitcher in the NL that he really has to worry about to be able to win this Cy Young is Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
And Skeens hasn't really been winning many games, but he's been having very dominant outings.
Well,
so if Wheeler can keep pace, there's a very strong possibility that if he can cross 10, 12 wins, he might end up being a shoe-in for that Cy Young.
Yeah, and it's a good segue here because I want to talk about somebody that could be in consideration for the Cy Young, and that is Christopher Sanchez. Yeah. Because you think about it right now, speaking of Paul Skeens, I saw the stat either yesterday or the day before that Skeens has 19 games played. I was like, they're like right next to each other. I mean, there was like Sanchez that had 17 and Skeens had 19. I think somebody had 18. I think it was Screwball at 18. But they're like right next to each other. And even Screwball gave him some praise last night, saying actually his pitching velocity is actually better than mine, I'm gonna admit. So
he said that his changeup is better.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And he's like, of course you're looking at the metrics and you're looking as a pitcher, you're looking to kind of be as good as the other pitcher, and like, that's the thing. It's a copycat league sometimes. Like you learn as you go along. And I mean, what was it? Cole Hammel said that he even got taught by Roy Halladay how to throw the curveball more effectively. And like, so you have pitchers that will look at other pitchers and like, man, I can't move the ball like that, but I want to, and we'll try to learn how to do it so that they can be as effective. I mean, in Scoobal's mind, if he could have a Christopher Sanchez curve changeup along with the rest of his arsenal, he would be a better pitcher. Now, Christopher Sanchez probably would say, okay, I wish I had a better slider or a better whatever in order to be a better pitcher. Every pitcher is looking to improve. But yeah, you're right, James. Like, where Zach Wheeler is looking to capture that Cy Young, he might actually get stolen. That Cy Young might get stolen by his own teammate.
Yeah. He's been that effective. That's the thing. I mean, for me with Sanchez, I mean, every single game I watched this year, it's just that he doesn't get into trouble. He does even when he's into trouble, he gets only 10 or 15 pitches out of it. But overall, I mean, it's just that the craziest part about it is he's kind of like Durant a little bit, that he doesn't like once he has that ball in his glove, he just throws it. I mean, he doesn't lollygag. He doesn't he doesn't deal around and just he's one of the probably the best ever. I think he's probably one of the best pitchers in modern era that actually, with the pitch clock, he actually does very well with that pitch clock in his range.
Yeah, and that I feel like is part of the whole thing with how dominant Christopher Sanchez has been because of the pitch clock constricting the amount of time that you can take between pitches. He's keeping himself really focused. He's understanding, where the eye level is for those hitters and what he can do to sort of be able to change that and make them miss. And like they had Bryce Harper mic'd up on Sunday night when Sanchez was out there dealing, and they asked Harper, like, do you face that changeup a lot in spring training? He went, nope, and I want to keep it that way. Like, because that thing is nasty, man.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where he picked that thing up and how he managed to be able to figure that out, but my goodness, is that thing dangerous.
Actually, they brought it up
smooth.
last night. They brought it up last night. One of the mentors that Christopher Sanchez has had since he's been a Philly has been Pedro Martinez.
Oh yeah.
Pedro, like, he could make the ball dance, and he's probably one of the greats. And like, having Christopher Sanchez kind of be under Pedro's wing to kind of learn how to kind of pitch without having to. I mean, we talk about this, I feel like, at least once a week, James. Is there's a difference between throwers and pitchers.
Yep.
Pitchers will fool you with junk and will just boggle your mind. You're like, wait a minute, the ball was right there. How did it fall off the table? Like, those are pitchers.
Painted the corner. Roy Halladay was perfect with that painting of the corner all the time.
Throwers are guys that just throw it at a spot. Hard. Yep. And like, that's the thing. I think Sanchez is the epitome of that. I won't go as far as to say he's Roy Halladay-esque.
No,
I won't go that far yet.
Maybe Cliff Lee.
Yeah. But like, he's an artist when it comes down to that zone.
He's out there, as some of the guys say nowadays. He's out there, Bob Ross in that strike zone, man.
Oh yeah,
yes, for sure.
He is definitely, like you said, there is a very strong possibility that Wheeler's shot at the Cy Young this year gets, the spotlight gets stolen by Sanchez.
Yeah.
Not only because of just how dominant he's been, but just his stuff is just so nasty.
He's just a beast. He's just incredible.
So for all the criticism that Dombrowski has gotten about what he has and what he hasn't done, can we all just applaud Dave Dombrowski for having extended Christopher Sanchez for the foreseeable future? Because this is a guy who's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. And that if I'm the guy at the Tampa Bay Rays, I'm kicking myself for letting this guy go.
Yeah,
I don't care what I got
myself
back.
So hard, I'm seeing my own shoe prints on my ass.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. So before we get out of here, we're gonna get into tonight's season preview between the Phillies and the O's. Baltimore coming into town for the first time this season, and then they play Texas for 3 over the weekend. So beginning tonight, the Phillies for this upcoming series preview, they got on the mound tonight is Jesus Luzardo tonight for the Phillies, trying to get his 10th win on the season, as he is 9-5 this season with a 4.31 earned run average, and they'll be opposed by Cade Povich, who is not related to Maury Povich, by the way. I had to put that out there.
I was going to say, I'm like, is there relation? You are not the father. Okay.
And he'll be opposed by I had to put that in there. Because when I saw Povich, I was like, I wonder if he's related to Maury, but no relation. So he's a 2-5 this year, and has an ERA of 5.15. Tomorrow's matchup will be Taijuan Walker. Why?
No, we're coming back soon.
Oh, Madone. I know.
Yeah, we just have to endure the Walker starts for now.
Yeah. It's almost over. I promise. It's almost over.
It's like torture every time. It's like I'm like trapped in the basement. My eyes are wide open. I gotta watch Taijuan Walker. The only difference is there's no sympathy in the background.
God, the worst kind of torture, being forced to watch Walker starts.
I know, dude. I know. It's awful. It's awful.
Even Duran is like, how does he own the team still? And it's like,
right.
Like, wait, okay, I understand. I've seen some really bad pitchers. I came from Minnesota, after all. But
Yeah.
what in the world? Why is he a starter?
You-
He's like,
you-
please don't call me when on his starts because I'm not doing it.
You know
I'm
what's
not
the weird?
picking up his mess.
You know what the weirdest thing about it? I just looked at his ERA. He's like 3 of 5, obviously, this year. His ERA is 3.82. Jesus Luzardo has a bigger ERA than Taijuan Walker does.
Yeah, but
How is that
that's
What?
possible?
it's
That's
inflated.
insane, right?
It's inflated for those 2 starts that Luzardo had 17
Luzardo
runs.
has a worse ERA
Yeah.
than Taijuan friggin' Walker.
Yeah, well, and look, Luzardo is
That's
still a
baseball,
better
baby.
pitcher. That's still like if you
Well, if you pick out,
ask
if you hear the trash in the background, that's Taijuan Walker's
Yeah,
bullshit getting.
that's how Walker came through.
wow,
Eddie,
poor man.
time to take out the trash, right? Or maybe it's Jesus Luzardo or something. Actually, no, Luzardo. I would hope him. I wish him to get his 10th win tonight. Let's not get it crazy here. But that's
and
crazy though. But
especially
his ERA's higher than Taijuan Walker. I mean,
It's those
how is that
2
possible?
It's those 2 starts that he had 17 earned. It was like 17 earned
Yeah.
runs in 2 starts, and so like that will inflate anybody's ERA.
yeah.
And so
my
like
God.
that is the problem. But like here's my thing with Tywin. I feel like you just mustered through right now because he's just gonna end up being like that unknown pitcher in the bullpen come September and October.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hope he'll be like the J Happ of the world.
Yeah.
So for the Orioles,
Luzardo, I feel like this would be a really good get back start for him. Because
yeah,
Baltimore has not been themselves this season at all.
They
this
definitely
totally,
dismantled themselves in the trade.
Yeah.
Trade deadline too.
Moving Cedric Mullins, the moving who was it, O'Hearn.
Yep.
Like they got rid of a couple of really solid bats in their lineup. I mean, they still have Jackson Holiday, they still have Gunnar Henderson, they still have Adley Rutschman. Like they still have guys that
really
can
good.
be dangerous at the plate, but they just haven't had it this year. And it's been really tough to see because that team last year was a phenomenon.
Yeah, they had a lot. I mean, kind of remind me like in 2014 when they had Machado and Chris Davis and like
JJ
and even
Hardy
like
at shortstop.
Nelson Cruz, JJ Hardy, Nelson Cruz. Yeah. Oh yeah, I went to one of those games a few years ago. I went to up Baltimore to see that Oriole team in 2014, and I gotta tell you right now, Camden Yards is a great ballpark.
Yes, Camden Yards is beautiful.
One of the best ballparks in the league, like the Phillies. It's a really good ballpark, and that's really, it's not far away from. Actually, I think it was that same day too. I think Ohio State was playing Maryland that day, so I saw a couple of Buckeyes fans come back across the street after I think it was the same year they won the national title too, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds about right. I believe 14 was an Ohio State year.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm not mistaken. So, anywho, but for the Orioles tomorrow, he'll be opposed by Dean Kramer, who is 8-7 this year and has an ERA of 4.27. And the rubber match of the series on Wednesday afternoon, it will be Ranger Suarez back on the mound for that matchup on Wednesday, and he has an 8-4 record and has a 2.68 ERA. And he'll be opposed by former Miami Marlin Trevor Rogers, who is 4-2 this year and has a 1.44 ERA. So that is your 3 pitchers, the probable pitchers for the Phillies and Orioles this week. I would guess the probables will be coming up later for that Rangers series, coming up in the weekend series up in Texas. But overall, guys, what are your expectations for this Phillies team upcoming this week for the Fightin Phils?
Well, with the Orioles series, I expect them to pull this off because, like we talked about, the Orioles haven't been playing like they played last year. They definitely dismantled some of their offense, so that hurts. The big thing that I am really going to pay attention to, both this week and next week, is after the Orioles series and they go to Texas, they go to a 3-city tour, 9 total games. It is the longest road trip of this season for the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the litmus test of what the Phillies can really string together in the stretch run. If they can come off that road trip with a over 500 record against some of these teams, it's it would be a big deal. I mean, you got to keep in mind the Rangers might not be playing up to snuff, but they are a year or two removed from being World Series champions.
Hmm.
Then you have the ideas of the other road trip that the other teams that they're going to be playing on this road trip. None of them are, completely out of it, and none of them are just laying down for the year. We saw what happened in Chicago. We have to be prepared in this road trip to not let that happen again. And we're not going to have, if Durant comes in on the road, we are not going to have the pageantry. So we are going to have to see what Durant does without the festivities, so to speak. Can he still be the effective pitcher? Can he still give the heat? I believe he can, but it's going to be a big litmus test the next 2 weeks for the Phillies.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin, what are your expectations for this Phillies team in this upcoming series between Baltimore and Texas coming up?
I'd like to say just like Michael was saying here, I would like to think that the Phillies get the sweep on Baltimore, but honestly, with the way baseball is, they'll probably end up cheating one out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think just like you were saying with the Rangers, they're no slouch right now, even though the numbers have not looked good for them this year. I feel like if you can at least go 4-2, you're going to be in a way better spot than you were this week coming out of just the Chicago series. You'll even if you can just get 2-1 from Baltimore going into Texas, you're going to be in a lot better of a spot than you would be if you were to lose that series.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, thanks a lot for the comment, Mike. I appreciate it. All right, that's going to do it for ourselves here today for this podcast for This Week in Phillies Baseball. Austin, where can people see you next on these very important programs here?
This Saturday on the Hardcore Play and Rewind YouTube channel, doing the Hardcore Play podcast, Art and I are going to be talking about a bit of a throwback MMO game, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. If any of you remember playing that game at all on be it PC, PlayStation, original Xbox,
I do remember.
We're going to be talking about that, and then of course, right down here, twitch.tv/Hambo26. I've actually been running through the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster. I'm getting close to the end, I want to say, getting through the bulk of the game so far. My plan is to 100% the achievements in that game, so that way there's nothing that I end up having to go back to later and end up sinking another 65 hours into the game.
Right.
But
God.
yeah, I mean, aside from that, throughout the week on other people's streams, I try my best to post when I go live, be it on my own streams or someone else's. But every once in a while, I tend to forget. But if you follow me on Twitch, you'll get notified when I do go live. So there's always that.
Excellent. Joey, same question to you. Where can people see you next?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on X at JoeWolf112680. The way I would say it is me and James are going to be working on a couple episodes for Philly Fame Legends. We are going to cover the Allens, Dick Allen and Eric Allen, both Hall of Famers now. So we will be covering those. So keep an eye out. Hit that like and subscribe on Hardcore Sports Network and Stream Punk Entertainment PA, and you'll get notified once those episodes drop. And we're also going to dive deep into Weapon X, and we are looking to try and get a former Eagle on to potentially talk with us about maybe him or some of his other teammates in future episodes of the Philly Fame Legends.
Sounds good. All right, that's going to wrap it up here for tonight. I want to say thank you to Joey Marks and Austin Hammel joining me, like we always do on This Week in Phillies Baseball. But I don't know when I'll be back with you guys next. Hopefully I'll be back with you guys very, very soon. But now for everyone behind the scenes and for everyone that made it work here, for Joey, for Austin, and myself, this has been This Week in Phillies Baseball. I'm James Scorza saying thanks for watching, everybody. Until then, we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.